Hello children, once again I came here with these slides and the video explanation with one of the very important segment of social science, that is economics of class 10, and the title of the chapter is development. So before going to explain you about the chapter, let me tell you about the objectives of the chapter. This chapter will help us to understand the people and different perspectives on development. And there are ways by which we can arrive at the common indicators for development. Another thing which the chapter will uh, help us to know is the methods and the various tools that are being used to measure the development. And chapter will discuss all these tools and the methods with us. The chapter will also help us to know about the certain terms and their importance in the context of learning economics. So this is overall what we need to understand after discussing this chapter. So without wasting the time, let us move to the another slide and let us try to know what development means. If you simply think or you try to understand that what development means, then you will come to know that development means to progress or achieve the goals or aspirations in our life. What are these aspirations? What are these goals? These are varied from one person to another person. That we will discuss in the later part. It also enhances the fulfillment of one's various requirements. We live in this world or in this planet, and to live our life we have lots of requirement, and this requirement and their fulfillment or ability of fulfilling this requirement are seen as what? Development. Development also promises the better lifestyle, and development also ensures how people lived, what sorts of privileges and opportunities they enjoy or exercise in their day-to-day life. So development in the simple context we can understand in this way, which ensure the progress or achieving the goals or one's aspirations. Development enhance the fulfillment of one's various requirement. Development also promises the better lifestyle. Development ensures how people live, what sorts of privileges and opportunities they enjoy or exercise in their day-to-day life. So this means a development. So if this means a development, what development promises? What exactly development means? Then if you see the people around us, or if you take your own example, what is your desires? What is your aspirations? What goal you have set in your life? Do all they similar with your friends, even with your family members? If you look at this aspect, then you will come to know that no, these are not similar. What goal I have set or you have set, what desires you have and your friends have, it is varied from you to your friend. It is varied from you to your family. In the same way, we can say that it is varied from one person to another person. So what development promises? It promises different goals, different aspirations to one person to another person. That's why it is said that different people have different goals. And the progress or development means are different to different persons based on their aspirations. What I mean to tell you here, let me explain you picking up the two examples from your textbook. In your textbook there are so many examples. You can read those examples, but I have picked up the two examples to make you understand that different people have different developmental goals. And what are these conditions? Let us try to understand with the help of these two examples. Take the example of landless rural laborer here. What is the aspirations of a landless rural laborer? What goal he sets might not be similar to a big farmer, a service holder, or a entrepreneur or high profile person living in the society. What development promises to landless rural laborer is a more days of work so that he can earn a better wages and live his life comfortably. He also thinks of getting better schools which are less paid or almost free of cost education, which rendering like government schools for their children. What these persons expect? No social discrimination. This may be a developmental goal, or this may be a aspirations of that particular person who is called as a landless rural laborer. This is what development means to him, or this is what development promises to him. Let us take another example of the book which talks about a girl from rich urban family. For her, does she get a much freedom as compared to her brother? Does she able to decide what she want to do in her life? Does she enjoy same kind of freedom and equality or other privileges? Does she get the opportunity to study abroad? This may be a developmental goal for her. So, in the same way, what a industrialist think about his development may not be similar to a person who work in daily wage. So that's why it says that the development promises different things to different people, or different goals to different people. So with these two examples, we come to know two things very clear. One is, one different person can have different developmental goal. Means what developmental goal mean to you or to me may not be someone else. Right? Second, what may be a development for one may not be a development for others. It means for us or for you and me, development may be earning more than lakh rupees in a month. But for some, it may not be a same. What development mean to me, that may be a destructive for someone. Let us take another example. A industrialist who want to open his industries in a village. What will be the goal for him? To set up the industries in a village. But the people who are living in that village, and because of this industrial setup, if their village get devastated, then in the case of villagers, it may be a destruction for them. It may not be a development for them. So that's why, with the help of this example, we can think in this way: what development mean to me or mean to us may not be a development for someone. It may be a destructive or it may be a conflicting with each other. So what is the destructive or what is that conflicting? That we will try to understand in the later segment. Then let us move to the another aspect. If development means to fulfill one's set goal and aspirations, then how we can measure this? Whether the person is developed or not, whether a country is developed or not. And to measure this, there are certain criteria follows. And in that criteria, most important assets is taken as income along with the other goals. Let us see. Income counts as one of the very important assets to measure the development, no doubt. But along with that, other criteria also cannot be ignored, which are materialistic in or non-materialistic in nature, or which are common goal. And what are these non-materialistic criteria or goals? Then this includes equal treatment, freedom, safety in workplace, various facilities, as facilities include transportation, electricity, education, healthcare facilities, all this, job security, respect for one dignity, etc., etc. So all these collective things, when people as a person able to enjoy in their life, then it is counted or calculated as what? A development or a progress. No? What is the importance of non-materialistic goal, which is also called as a common goal? See, if income help us to fulfill our uncountable desires or to set our achieved goal, then these non-materialistic goals help us, this also help us into grow in our life. Think in this way: you are living with a very good earning and you are able to fulfill all your desires, all your aspirations so called. But if you are rejected in the society, if you don't enjoy equal dignity, if you are subject to be discriminated, then do you live a prosperous life? Do you live a quality life? Then of course not. Think in a simple manner. You and your life without your friends, you and your life without enjoyment, you and your life without any new learning, can be called as a progressive life? Can be called as a developing or developed life? Of course not. That's why one of the most important assets to measure the development is what? Income and other goals. Here other goals are non-materialistic goal. Hence, for development, people looked at the mixed goal. They do not have only one set target or one aspirations. It is keep on changing with each step of human life. Clear? If it is so, then national development and the human development Do they are the two different elements, or do we can segregate them? Then it is very important to keep in mind that different people could have different as well as conflicting notions of country's development. When we talk about the country's development, indirectly we are talking about the development of an individual living in that country. For example, let us take about those group of people who get certain privileges. If you take the one example which you can see in this slide, the example of reservation policy. See, the people who enjoy these facilities may progress in their life out of this. But what about those group of people who do not prevail these facilities? They may not be happy with this, but no doubt this kind of facilities is helping one group of people to grow in their life, and it is the need of the time, or we can say their requirement. But those group of people who are benefiting out of it and who are able to progress in their life, and it help to achieve their certain aspirations and goal, for them it's very meaningful. For them it is one of the important assets to grow. But what about those group of people who don't enjoy or don't get this kind of facilities? They may not happy with that. So this notion of development is always called as a conflicting notions of development in economics, where one is benefited out of it, another may not get benefit. One may get progress because of these facilities, but one may not. So this is how these are the conflicting notions of development. If development is all about achieving our set goal, fulfilling our desires, where non-materialistic goal cannot be ignored, often these developments are conflicting in nature, then how it is to be compared? Whether any country is a developed country or any state is a developed state. When we talk about the country or the state, it means we are talking about the people living in that country or the state. See, so there are certain factors which are very essential for one's development, as we have discussed previously. And among those certain factors, income is calculated as one of the most important factor. Why income is calculated as one of the most important factor? As many of the economists, many of the entrepreneurs, many of the social or political thinkers, they are in opinion, person living with a good income able to fulfill their maximum desires. They able to get their set goals, achieve their set goals. That's why it is often said that whatever people like and should have in their life, they will able to get with greater income. That's why income is calculated as one of the most important assets of the development. Then what is the income of a nation? When we talk about the income of a nation, it means we are directly or indirectly talking about the income of a resident living in that nation, or it means income of a person living in this nation. which gives us the total income of the nation. In this way, when a person live with a good income as an individual, then it will help to increase the average income or per capita income or nation's income, because per capita income is also called as the average income, and per capita income and nation income cannot be segregated with each other. Here it is complementary. Nation income means person income and person income means nation income. These are complementary. Think in this way, we are almost living in the 145 crores of people in our country, and whatever these people are earning or whatever income they have, it is the income of the nation, or whatever the income our nation has, it means the income of the people living in our nation. Clear? But this method of comparison has certain demerits. It is not much useful to measure every country which has a different demography or resources. When we talk about the demography, it means the population of that country. Clear? So let us see what criteria or methods the World Bank follow to measure the development of any country. If you see the in World Development Report brought by World Bank, this criteria classified the countries in this way. As per the 2013, I have picked up this from your book so that it will be little easy for you to understand, because after that surely I believe that after watching these slides and listening me, you will read the text. That's why I have picked up the example from the text. In 2013, the World Bank has brought this report and methods, and it says that a person living with 12,736 US dollar earning per annum and above are called as a developed person, or any nation which is earning the same amount is called as a developed nations, as they are declared as a rich country. And any person or a nation which is earning less than 1045 per annum is called as a low income countries. So they were called as what? Underdeveloped nations. So if we see the methods or the criteria World Bank has brought to declare any nation as a developed nation, and it has said as per 2013 reports that a nation with 12,736 is a developed nation. Any person earning 12,736 rupees US dollar per annum is a developed nation, and any person in a nation earning 1,045 US dollar is a underdeveloped nation. And where India stand? So if you see in that report, in that period of time, India's earning was 1,570 US dollar per annum. It means it is somewhere in between the criteria brought by World Bank. That's why India was called as a, or India is called as a developing nation. So this criteria World Bank has brought to measure whether a country is a developed nations or it is a underdeveloped nation or a developing nations. But in this criteria, there are certain problems to measures. And what are these problems? It ignore the other development parameters like health facilities, electric facilities, and the quality of life. When we talk about the facilities, facilities comprises of many things. Facilities not only comprises with health and education, it comprises of good mode of connectivity, good mode of connectivity in both transportation and communications comes. It ignore these parameters. Another, while average incomes are useful for comparisons, they hide the disparities. The report which World Bank has brought is hides the disparities. And what is the disparities? Two countries might have an identical average income with equitable distribution of preferred other facilities. Let me tell you the example, or let me explain this point. When we talk about the comparisons comes from all the side. What about the disparities which is prevailed in any nations? Naturally, if you see, there are many such countries which are naturally very resourceful, and some countries are there which are not that much blessed with these natural resources. In such conditions, how it is correct to support this method of measuring the development, right? Another problem with the method is what? It talks about the income, but what about the other criteria? Today, if you see, there are such countries prevails in this world where people earn very less, but they live a healthy and happy life. Such conditions is ignored by this method. Finally, development means the quality life, and earning alone or income alone cannot ensure the quality life. Or beside income, this cannot think about other attributes like the social equality, the political liberty or freedom. Let me take you, or let me quote one example here. If you see the fourth point, it is written here: nation or region, we may, beside income, think of other equally important attributes. With what sorts of equality we live in our nation? Do the people in America live with the same equality? No doubt they may live a better life. Now, condition of American India is what? They live with very limited population. And if you see the demography of India and America, you will find a huge differences. Even then, in our country, people live with lots of freedom. People live with great sense of opportunities. People live with lots of rights. Here one is so much free to express his opinion. May not be similar in the case of US. And what about within the country? If you see, there are so many such states which has a highest per capita income and which has a very low capita income. And if you see those states, why this high capita income, per capita income or low per capita income prevails, it is because of the disparities that prevails due to lack of availability of the resources or because of high populations. Because every state or every country's demography is not same. Every state, every country's resources availability is not similar. So that's why the method which World Bank has brought, it had certain problems. Clear? Now beside that, let us move to the other criteria of measuring the development. We cannot ignore the infant mortality rate. It means the number of child that die before the age of 1 year. World Bank ignored this point, or World Bank criteria which brought, it ignored this. A person may have a more earning, but what's about the human life? Another is literacy rate as per the proportion of 100 lives children born in that particular year. That also cannot be ignored. Another is net attendance ratio, which is the total number of children of the age of 14 or 15 years attending school as a percentage of total number of children in the same age group. That is, what about the BMI, which is called as a body mass index, which is calculated as a weight is to be divided by height square. If the figure is less than 18.5, the person would be considered undernourishment. However, if the BMI is more than 25, then a person is overweight. These are also some of the important criteria which need to be accepted in the race of development or in the process of measuring the development. If you see the Human Development Index published by United Nations Development Program, it compares based on education, health status and the per capita income. So what development promises and what the methods World Bank has brought, there is a huge gap. But overall, in this chapter, what we need to understand is the development which compromise the sustainability of the environment can be accepted as a healthy. It means any nations which compromises the sustainability, the environment. You see, environment too played a very crucial role, important role, because whatever the efforts human being takes, that takes within their environment. So in general, the question of development or progress is perennial, as all the time what we wish to become and what our goals are keep on changing. So in this chapter, what is the most important thing we need to understand is what is development, as we have said, which means achieving our set goals and aspirations. When person can be called as a developed, or when nation is called as a developed. A nation or a person called as a developed when they are able to fulfill their goals, but without ignoring the non-materialistic ideas. So this is overall what the chapter talks about. So with this I just conclude that chapter. I hope that the chapter is very short. Main purpose of the chapter is to make you understand about the development, its various criteria, and what are the conflicting developmental goals. This chapter just try to make you understand. I hope you understand it, and you, after listening this video or watching or going through these slides, once you read the text, and it will help you to understand the chapter in the wider manner. Thank you very much.